सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्त्वन्निवर्तकः। अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवद्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगुं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ मन्वथं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। आप्यायन्तु मम अङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकरोत् ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मा ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य मानि ईस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधितेन अहोरात्रान् संदधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः भद्रन्नो अपि वातय मनः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः यो ब्रह्मानं विदधाति यो वै वेदांश्च तगुंहदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. So the two, first of all, apologies for the sound not working today, so I'll try to speak as loud as I can. So there are two shlokas that I find you're not completely in sync. So let's just follow me. So one is the Vang me manasi pratishtita, and only the first half of it. Once you say Ritam Vadishyami, then you are in sync again. And pretty much the same thing with Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha, first half. So just kindly follow after me just to make sure that the timing and syncing is okay. Vang me manasi pratishtita. Mano me vachi pratishtitam. Aviravir edhi. Vedasya maani isthaha. Vedasya maani isthaha. Shrutam me ma prahasihi. Shrutam me ma prahasihi. Anenadhitena. Ahoratran sandadhami. Good. So, and then moving over to number 9. Bhadran karnebhihi shrunuyama devaha. Bhadram karnebhihi shrunuyama devaha. Bhadram pashyema akshabhiryajatraha. Bhadram pashyema akshabhiryajatraha. Sthirairangai istuštuvagum sastanubhihi. Sthirairangai istuštuvagum sastanubhihi. Vyashema devahitan yadayuhu. Vyashema devahitan yadayuhu. Swasti na indro vriddhashavaha. Swasti na indro vriddhashavaha. Swasti nah pusha vishvavedaha.
Swasti na Purusha
Vishvaveda Swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi
Swasti na Saksho Arishthanemi
Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu
Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu.
Okay, good. So, first two verses of Mandukya Upanishad. Om ityetadakshara idagum sarvam. Om ityetadakshara idagum sarvam. Om ityetadakshara idagum sarvam. Om ityetadakshara idagum sarvam. Tasyopakhyakyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam onkara eva yachanyat trikalatitam tadapyonkara eva sarvagum hi etad brahma ayamatma brahma soyamatma chatushpat. So one quick question. How many of you were able to review the last week's lesson before you came? I hope you do that, please. I think the more you treat this as a serious study, the better off your understanding will be. If you simply come in to listen to something for an hour or so every week and not really have a continuity of your thoughts and so on, then you won't gain that much. You'll hopefully you'll enjoy, but the real gain will be if you treat this as something that you have to get a very good handle on, and also to follow through with questions and so on and so forth. So part of that would be to review the lessons before you come for doing this. So I'm also feeling that there's a number of you that need to have, it may not be true, but at least my general feeling is that there's a number of you that need a refresher of the basics. And I have a kind of a plan to do so. It's warming up in my mind, and I think I'm starting to give it more reality. What I think I'm going to do is take a break from the Gita class, which starts at 9:30 to 11, and take just a break. I will continue Gita as much as Ishvara will allow me to do it, but take a break from it for a few months, maybe 2-3 months, and go through the first chapter of Panchadashi with you. Panchadashi is a more advanced form of Tattva Viveka, or Tattva Bodha. And I find Swami Maheshananji's explanation of the very basics of the Vedanta are very well done. I've already reviewed it twice. I just finished doing the first chapter, and I'm going to do all the 15 chapters. It's really wonderful. So I think that we will take up the first chapter of the Panchadashi for those of you that feel like you need a refresher of the basics. And some of the people from this class may also want to attend that one. If you cannot attend both classes and you still want to continue with the Mandukya, which I will continue, you can listen to it It depends on how much time you have. You're welcome to attend both classes, but sometime in the next month or two, and I may even advertise it so that other people can also join. Excuse me. So in the next couple of months or so, perhaps at the end of the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, so let's take a nice clean break, and then we'll switch over to Panchadashi, and then go back to the Gita, and the Mandukya will continue to start. Will continue to go on. So an understanding of the basics is a very important thing. It should be very clear in our minds as to how that is. And it's anyway. So one of the things that I would encourage you to do, which I've been saying now, but I think I want to really emphasize it, that I hope and expect that all of you review your notes from the previous class when you go to the next class. So a sense of continuity. I don't have to spend a lot of time recreating all of that. So I hope that that happens. So so it's the way. I think just a very quick revision of how the Upanishad is dealing with this whole issue is that the Mandukya Upanishad specializes in doing viveka of our three different experiences of our life. So as we were discussing last week also, that there are a number of Upanishads that generally talk, in one form or the other, it talks about viveka. So for example, we have seen in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Panchakosha Viveka. So the Panchakosha Viveka is a method where you make a difference, but you make a sense and a difference between what is the basic cause and what is the effect, to separate the cause from the effect. So like for example, in the case of the golden ornaments, the ornaments are as effect and the gold is the cause. So similarly, in the Panchakosha Viveka, you start with the Annamaya Kosha and you travel towards the cause of it all the way up to Anandamaya, and then the Anandam itself, which is nothing but which is Atma. Well, this was done in the case of Taittiriya Upanishad. Similarly, a lot of the Upanishads, and particularly Chandogya Upanishad, talks about the viveka of the creation of this whole universe, what is called Srishti. Srishti is the Sanskritam word for creation. And so the father here, Uddalaka, also called Aruni, is teaching his son, Shvetaketu, the various aspects of creation. So there, the viveka is in terms of Srishti. So just to take a quick detour of that, and we'll come back, and I'm doing it for a reason. I'll bring it back to the methodology of the Mandukya Upanishad in a minute. I'll connect it, but just to take an independent detour, the word Srishti, as in the case of all Sanskrit words, except for very few that have Rudhi Artha, but anything that has an etymological meaning, which is 99% of them, what is called a Vyutpatti Artha. The word Srishti comes from the dhatu srij. So the verb is called srij. And from there the shrishti is formed. And the dhatu srij, because all the dhatus have all of the essence of the whole experience of life is captured in the dhatus. Dhatus means the very fundamental verb that conveys a certain meaning. So srij conveys the meaning of throwing out. Throwing out is called srij. So follow this carefully. This is an important point. So srij means to, in Hindi, phekna. When tum phekte ho na jo, that is called srij. Amazingly. Okay? So srij means, shrishti means the throwing out of things. Throwing out of things. Throwing out things is called srishti. Okay? So for example, supposing you take a handful of water, just like you have these beautiful to see kids in a swimming pool. So what they do is they throw water at each other. They take they'll put their hand like this and they will throw it at each other and try to overwhelm the other person. So there is a phenomena here going on where the water is being thrown at someone. But the throwing means that something is already there and you're manifesting it. This is a very important point. Something is already there and it is being converted. Like in the case of the swimming pool, the water is already there, but these kids make something out of it. They kind of bother each other, and this is what happens. You have two siblings, one boy who's 12 years old and the other boy is like 6 years old. And the 12-year-old boy, he will try to assure his ascendancy that he overwhelms the other person with lots of water. Finally, this young kid cannot take it anymore. He also tries to put some water in. And so he says, okay, that's it. I'm drowned if you're going to. So this is a play. But the play is only possible if they have water. They cannot do it out of air. Air has some other srishti. It can blow some particles around and so on. But this kind of a play is not possible unless the original is already there. So this is a very important point. So Vedanta, our Vedas, our Shastras say that the srishti should be understood to be something which appears out of something which is already there. And so here an objection can be made. Why does it always have to be there? Why can't you create out of something which is not there? Why can't you call that as a srishti? So the answer there is that unless the ingredients of the throwing things are available, you cannot do it. Like for instance, you cannot make ghee out of water, because the ingredients of ghee are not there in the water. If you can create anything out of anything, then you should be able to make ghee out of water, but you can't. You need milk converted to a yogurt, and then you do manthanam and all kinds of things, and you come out with some ghee. So what that means is that this ghee is a srishti. And it's only possible if it is already there. So therefore, the very basic essence of Srishti, whenever you see Srishti, which is creation, which is a Sanskrit word for creation, you should immediately think about where did it come from. So in the Chandogya Upanishad, Aruni is teaching Srishti to his son, Shvetaketu. And this is a very famous section which has Tattvamasi. And it has, of course, the Mahavakya, the most popular Mahavakya, the great sentence, "You are that," comes from Chandogya, is one thing. Another thing it talks about is the necessity for gradually understanding. So repetition. So 9 times he had to repeat it. And the way it was, if we ever take up that chapter, we will do the Chandogya itself is too big to be taken up. So you can take individual chapters. So in that chapter, if you ever take up, what happens is Aruni tells him something and he says, you are that. So the person says, yeah, that makes sense. Then he goes and thinks about it. And he comes out with some objections and he's not able to overcome the objections. So he comes back to his father and he says, I kind of thought I understood it, but I don't. Can you please give me an answer to these doubts? So then Aruni gives him another round of explanations. And then he says, see, you are that. So he says, yeah, that makes sense. I think I can go. This happens 9 times. Anyway, so that's one part of it. But going back to the main topic we're discussing, Aruni is explaining to Shvetaketu that the whole creation that we see, creation means all of our experiences, our own life, the whole life, all of our lives, is in the form of Srishti. And then he says, Sadeva Ekam Advitiyam Asit. He says, Sat alone was there before the creation. There was nothing else except Sat. Sat means the Atma. And from there, the whole creation comes. One sidelight to this, very interesting, I'm just giving you some commentaries on related aspects to it. One sideline to this is that Shvetaketu asks him, is one of his doubts. Excuse me. So, if you say that in the beginning there was, not in the beginning of the time, there's no time, but in the phase of Srishti and non-Srishti, Srishti and non-Srishti. In the beginning of this phase, when the Srishti is given, doesn't it become dual? So Aruni says, no, not really. This is why not? So there's a big discussion about Swajatiya Bheda, then Vijatiya Bheda, different species. And then one of them, which is important here, is what is called Swagata Bheda. Swagata Bheda means that, okay, the whole samsara is nothing but Ishvara, but Ishvara has parts. Because you cannot have a form without having some parts. You cannot do that. So he says that the Ishvara must have Swagata Bheda. So our sampradaya, the basic sampradaya that we follow, he says no. No. And in fact, just for your information, this is the point that distinguishes Vedanta from Ramanujan's Vishishta Advaita. So this is called Advaita, and Ramanujan argues that what's the harm in taking that there is Swagata Bheda in Ishvara. See? Swagata Bheda in Ishvara. Like for example, supposing you are an individual. You are only one person. Just pick out any one of us. But that one person has parts. It's got a head, she's got a head, hands, stomach, all kinds of things, speech. Aren't these Swagata Bheda? They are the Swagata Bheda means differences within a person. So our Sampradaya says no. No. Why not? How can you say that? Because the Bheda means differences. The apparent the differences, forget about apparent, differences, forms are Mayika. Mayika means they are apparent. Just like, for example, you have so there is no duality between a rope and a snake. You cannot say that the rope is one thing and the snake is something else. That would be duality. But the very taking of the rope to be a snake is not duality. It is just, this is in fact the very essence of Srishti. The very essence of the creation. The whole Srishti is nothing but Mayikam. There is no real Srishti. Now connecting it to Mandukya, as I promised I will. So here, Mandukya gives us the viveka, gives us the power to distinguish between the real and the non-real through the avasthatraya, through the three stages, three experiences of our life. Very particularly designed by us, by Ishvara. Again and again, 24 hours, as we mentioned again. Very important, 24 hours is a very important point. And then connected it to the rotation of the earth. Half the time it is sunny. And in that time, then activity has to start. Many of us, our sankalpa should be to get up before the sun arrives. That'll be wonderful. Anytime you are up when the sun is already there, you should say sorry. It's like, if a guest comes, you should be there to receive the guest. Supposing the guest has been sitting in your living room for an hour. And you say, where? So, Mem Sahab jo hai, soi hui hai abhi. The lady of the house has been sleeping for an hour. And the guest is saying, any cup of tea or anything like this? So then he says, no, there's nothing. We don't know. She's the one that has to make it. How will that be? This is exactly the situation. It's a very important visitor. And as far as possible, please welcome by getting up before that. And after the guest leaves, then you can do whatever. You can watch television and so on and so forth. But at least it's a very interesting thing. I remember one time when I was working for IBM in India. So I was in New Delhi and I was posted to Jamshedpur as a systems engineer to look after the steel plants. And then I bought a new car. This is in 1971. And Hindustan, that is the only car available. Hindustan, the old motor and so on, but it was a brand new one. And so then we got a driver from AAA, and then we started to drive. I started to drive. My wife was not there with me. It took us like 3 days to get there. But it was a very interesting thing, because on the way I saw how the villages, a lot of the villages didn't have electricity, and how the villages will spring open as soon as the dawn arrives, and really the whole thing is deserted at dusk. Anyway, that imaginary came to my mind. So the whole thing about the 24 hours, our experiences and so on, is very carefully designed. And carefully designed so that we look at Shrishti. We look at Shrishti as we investigate Shrishti as a way of understanding who are we, what's happening to me. And the Shrishti that this Upanishad will clarify, especially the Karika and so on, as we will see, is basically made easier to understand by looking at the dream. That's the starting point. Why? Because the dream is Shrishti. Why is it a Shrishti? Because it is exactly like throwing things away from yourself. You have a certain identity. And the whole dream comes from you as a Shrishti. And what kind of a Shrishti? The Shrishti is Mayikam. It's Mayikam means it is just generated out of nothing. Maya. Oftentimes we say, I don't understand the Maya Shakti and how this, that. Hey, Ishvara is giving you a lot of hints every night to look at the Maya Shakti. You and I employ it. We create this whole scene, elaborate actually, very elaborate. And the elaboration of the dream must be already in me. See, that's the nature of the Shrishti. It must already be. It cannot be out of nothingness. And if it is already in me, and it is kind of like throwing water. The water kind of has droplets, and it has some effect on this young kid, and he inundates him. His eyes are full of that, and he can't take it anymore. Then he goes back to becoming water again. So similarly, the dream is also that creates a big halla gulla. And at the end of that, you're back again to where you were. And in fact, here, now the interesting thing to see, the important thing to see, is that the whole creation is nothing but a Shrishti. You cannot say, okay, in fact, this is what we say, this is our problem, that the dream is a Shrishti. But this is all different. This is all real. I'm dealing with real problems and this, that, or the other. This is very different. And so I kind of make an exception to the Shrishti. Yeah, I can understand the dream. Okay, I get what you're saying about the fact that you're creating out of it. But that's just a dream. That's not important. I've got a problem in my life. How am I going to solve it? You're going to solve it by seeing this also, nothing as Shrishti alone. This is how we're going to solve it. Because there is no Srishti in the whole creation which is not of this type. Everything is nothing but Mayikam. And if I understand that, then I'm done. So your Anubhava, everyone's Anubhava is. In fact, it has two Anubhava. Anubhava means, the word Anu means that Paschat means after the experience. How you describe it, how you conclude. And how you conclude is that there are two aspects to this. One was, did you have any problems? No. I may have problems when I was dreaming, or if I couldn't go to sleep, then I had problems. But once I was asleep, it was very pleasant. So this is one thing. Okay, so it was very pleasant. So what did you see? Why was it so pleasant? I don't know. I have no idea. This is what is called an awareness of ignorance. And the awareness of ignorance is Turiya. And the fourth one, which is really not the fourth one, which is the basic ingredient of all the states. I am aware of myself as Vishwa. I am a human being. This is the Vishwa. I am aware of the fact that sometimes I am Vishwa, sometimes I am Taijasa, a dreamer, waker, dreamer. Sometimes it's this Pragyaha, Prakarshena Agyaha. Agyaha means not knowing. Prakarshena means totally not knowing. Pragyaha. And the basic ingredient on all of them is awareness, consciousness. That is who I am. And so this is the method of doing Anvaya Vyatireka. I should see that myself as the consciousness is necessary for all stages. I am the very basic ingredient of waking experience, dream experience, sleep experience, but I remain the same. And so this is the Turiya, this is the actor. And if you know this very well, then your whole approach to your experiences changes completely. So this is the methodology that Mandukya follows, and we will explore more details of it as we go forward. So we'll end the class today. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shivamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Harihi Om Questions? Yeah.
When you said Jagrat Avastha is a stratification of dream state?
No, not stratification or dream state. It is an independent avastha. Independent avastha.
But as you acting,
Yeah. So you essentially in that manner, if you look at it that way, you are acting in 3 movies. One movie that is a long-term movie, has lots of acts and so on. One is a quick movie that changes, and the third one is kind of like a rest, where in between movies you are just sitting there waiting for the next role to take place. Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
If deep sleep is a state of awareness of nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and the creation is out of nothing, what is the difference between the Turiya state and the deep sleep state? Is that a prelude for the Turiya state?
So first of all, you cannot say that the creation is out of nothing. In fact, it is just the opposite. The creation is out of everything. Sat means one which is the very nature of means it's everything. And so from that everything, that is the nature of the Atma. There, some apparent creation takes place, Maikam. So from that apparent creation, the very source, and so, if you go back to the phenomena of mistaking a rope to be a snake, so the question, surely enough you jumped on it and you looked silly if somebody said, hey, why are you jumping on this? This is not going to bite you, this is just a rope. And you look silly. So your question is, why did I do that? Because I didn't know. So there is a certain reality, not reality, but a certain sense of doing something out of ignorance. So ignorance is a basic ingredient of Srishti, Maikam. And so there, the one closest Srishti to that is deep sleep. And then from there you have it's a successive creation. First you create deep sleep, which is a complete ignorance of who you are. And then from there you can go into either dream sleep or dream state or waking state and come back to the deep sleep. And once the deep sleep also is in a way only there some of the time, right? You're not just having sleep all the time, you're sleeping only for a few hours. But awareness never comes and goes. So even the deep sleep comes and goes. That's why you need the very basic Anvaya, which is Atma, and not deep sleep. Yeah.
So the deep sleep has the deep sleep has the absence of awareness, whereas Turiya has the awareness. Is that right?
No, deep sleep also has awareness. It can never go. Awareness can never go. But the awareness in deep sleep is of nothing. So awareness of ignorance is also awareness. Like, for example, I can ask you, do you see a dog in this classroom? And you said, no, I don't see a dog. How do you know that there's no dog? Because you know what a dog is, and you see that it is not there. So you cannot even nod and say, or you can say not, no, there is no dog, unless you have awareness of the fact that there is no dog in here. Yeah, sorry, just 1 second.
I was just curious, will we ever get to a state where we are aware that we are pure consciousness and Atma and
We are aware of that, we are what, sorry?
that we are pure consciousness and Atma?
That's what we're doing.
We
This,
don't know what we don't know yet.
this is exactly, so this is the, it can be approached through what is called yogic samadhi. So there is some kind of awareness just through practice and so on and so forth. Even with some introduction to it, you can have some ananda where you say, this is who I am. But even that is not considered to be the ultimate knowledge. But through the study of Vedanta, the state of moksha is exactly what we are trying to do, is that you will know the very ananda of the Atma. And that ananda will never go even though you are acting out and so on and so forth. That's what is called Jivan Mukti. So yeah, absolutely. That is what we are going towards. Kalpana?
So continuing with Vaidehi's question,
Yeah.
there is awareness. Can we say this, that awareness is Atma, and then the Agyan or the Maya or the Upadhi are kind of superimposed
Yes,
on that?
yes. You can say that. That's
And
exactly.
that either, like previous lectures, even though I wasn't here, I was listening online. I think there was a mention that Ishwar is the awareness with Upadhi.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the correct understanding?
So the Ishvara is endowed with the Upadhi. But really the example, I don't know if you listen to that or not, which has really become my favorite example, was the one that Swami Paramarthananda had pointed out. Remember the example where father and son were going, and so there was this guy with these handcuffs, and there was a policeman.
Yes.
And then, so he says, what's going on? He says, this guy is a policeman and he's holding. And then he went to another scene where there were one guy with two policemen on both sides. So he says, what's the reason for that? He says, well, that's because he is a Mahapaparadi. He not only is a thief, he can even kill people. So he need to have two people. Pretty soon he found there was a Raja going with 20 of these people all around him. So he asked his father, what kind of an aparadha must he have done this fellow? So he laughed. So the king was also endowed with some upadhi. So Ishvara is one which has the whole thing. But the upadhi is not controlling him like it is for the other people. It is there. You cannot have this upadhi unless there is no creation. That means that everything should be just ananda. It's no fun to have some play and so on and so forth. So so the Ishvara has upadhi is there, but it is very different from other ones. Yeah. Yes, sorry.
When we go to sleep, we go from awakening state to dream state to deep sleep.
No, actually that doesn't happen. So from your waking state to deep sleep.
You can go to deep sleep state, then but still you come up to dream state, because there's a transition from awakening from dream state to awakening state. That's how you remember that you were in dream state.
Right, so that is very rare. Very rare. It's very possible. So naturally, that means that something interrupted the flow and it woke up. But normally what will happen is that after the dream, you will go back to the deep sleep, even for a short time, you know. But supposing somebody's dreaming, when it happens, supposing you're dreaming and somebody says, hey, wake up, you're getting late for the class, or something like that. Then you say, you know, yeah, that's possible. But it's the exception to the rule. Exception to the rule is that deep sleep is the basic thing. You come out of it, go back to it. And then only when you have either yogic samadhi, which is also temporary, or the ultimate jivan mukti, then even the ignorance which is controlling you into a jiva, that also goes, and only ananda, only awareness remains. And if there is some ignorance, so for example, in the case of a jivan mukta, like let's say in the case of Raman Maharshi or Ramakrishna or any of the Mahatmas, they still have ignorance of particular things. It's not as though they will certainly understand all the languages or anything like this. But the main ignorance that encompasses them, that I am just a human being, I am not the basic awareness, that goes. So it's kind of like in the example that we were seeing earlier, then you suddenly become, so there are 2 or 3 policemen on either side of you and you feel I cannot escape. But once you become a Raja, then the same policemen salute to you. And so it doesn't control you anymore. It's very different.
Then how people remember dreams, if they were in dream state, they come to awakening state, they have the remnants of that long dream.
Correct.
So very last glimpse somebody has of the dream state, that's
Correct.
when one remembers that I was in a dream, I was doing this.
Yeah.
It's very short-lived, short-lived you remember, not the whole length of the dream.
Right.
Like that. So that means there's a transition from dream state to awakening state, or vice versa? Or
No, not necessarily, because you have certain memories that the memories can. It's not as though this is what is called samskaras or vasanas. So even our waking state here also involves a lot of samskaras. A lot of the unconscious, subconscious things are there. So even though they are not visible, but they are there. So the same thing that happens. There might be some lesha of the dream, which appears to go into nothingness when you go to deep sleep, but may leave some marks in there for it. So yeah, no, that doesn't mean that the basic rule of the deep sleep as the central point is violated. No. You can have some lesha of samskaras, yeah. Shilpa?
So, about, getting exposure of things like your rope and snake example that you did. So, you cannot see the snake in the rope unless you are exposed to the snake before.
Right.
You have to know what the snake. So, where is that exposure coming from?
Exposure to the snake. So you will if you've never seen a snake before, you will not mistake the rope to be a snake. But you could mistake the rope to be a water hose or a garland.
That's the point. Like, where is that coming from? Like, you have to, if you are assuming that rope is something else, so whatever that something else, you have to be exposed to that thing before you assume rope,
So what I'm trying to understand your question. So the thing is that the rope is a direct visible experience. If you have eyes open and your eyes are working, then you can see the rope. So there's no prior samskaras for that, right? But if you were to make a mistake, then what you make the mistake to must have a samskara. Must have a samskara. So, and in fact, this is what happens, this is an important thing to see. What happens is that we hear sounds and we see things, but how we conclude them depends upon our sanskaras. Because even a baby, supposing you are just a 2-day-old baby, and he or she is hearing some sounds, but there is no conclusion. But pretty soon the sounds turn into words because of software. Samskaras really means software. Inside there is software that has to be repeated, and then the words turn into the sounds turn into words. So similarly, taking a rope to be a snake requires some software in your mind. Otherwise, it will not happen. All right. I think we're out of time. Okay. We'll see you next week.
Of course.